It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. As you sit down with your family and friends at the Seder tonight, you may wonder, what am I meant to feel? Best of times or the worst of times? Throughout our long Jewish history, we've had Seders in the worst of times, but yet we've celebrated the Passover Seder. Think about in our long exile, the Jewish people celebrating the Pesach Seder, hiding during the times of the Inquisition. You read about the last Seder in the Warsaw Ghetto, how they were sitting and hiding in the cellars and bunkers celebrating Pesach. In those years, in those difficult times, maror, bitterness, is what was felt. And they also ate matzah to remember and hope for a time of freedom and a better time. Yet, on the other hand, there were times when we celebrated Pesach in joy, in happiness, when the Jewish people went up to the temples in Jerusalem and brought this paschal sacrifice and celebrated Pesach. The last times over here, recent times in Israel, celebrating in our own land, in our own country, as a free people. We had great times throughout Jewish history of Pesach Seders. This year, which one is it? It's the best of times and the worst of times. This year is both of them in the most profound and powerful way. On the one hand, we need to feel the suffering. We need, wherever you're celebrating your Pesach Seder, we need to be one Jewish people and feel the pain of the families whose hostages are being held. Feel the pain of the hostages themselves being held in captivity for more than 6 months now. We cannot sit at our Seder and say we are free people when more than 100 living Jewish brothers and sisters of ours are being held in captivity. We need to feel the pain of the more than 1,200 families who lost loved ones on October 7th. And they will be sitting down at their Pesach Seder for the first time without their loved ones. We need to feel the pain of all those families of the soldiers who lost loved ones. There will be thousands of families sitting down at the Pesach Seder tonight and crying. And us as one people need to feel their pain and cry with them. We need to eat that maror, the bitterness, and feel their pain. Yet on the other hand, my friends, we are not in the Warsaw Ghetto. We are not in the Inquisition. It is as well the best of times. We are free people all over the world to celebrate our Judaism. And we have our own country, the land of Israel, where Jews are able to practice freely. Yes, there are tough times, but we have a mighty army that's fighting. And we have seen miracles in recent times, no less than the 10 plagues. Just last week, more than 300 missiles, drones coming from Iran landing and not landing on Israel. This is a miracle of the highest proportions, of biblical proportions. If only one missile came through the defense system that was put by the IDF and America and other countries who helped out, if only one would come through, it can cause so much death and sorrow. That was a great miracle. And the Arab nations, Jordan and the UAE, helping out along with Israel for the very first time since the state of Israel is around, is another great miracle of our times. The soldiers on the front lines are sharing that you can sense the hand of God who is going and fighting with them. So while we feel the pain and the maror, we also feel the great joy that is happening for the Jewish people here today. So we eat the matzah not just hoping for a time of freedom, but we eat the matzah experiencing and feeling the joy and the miracles of Bayamim Haim of back then, but Bisman Hazeh in our time. So some years it's more maror, bitterness, and matzah freedom. We're not really sensing. Some years it's all matzah freedom, and you got to remind yourself of a time of bitterness. This year it's both together. You need to experience them both at your Seder tonight. So the main item this year is the korach, the Hillel sandwich. Because in the korach and the Hillel sandwich we have the matzah and the maror mixed together. That's the experience here today. Pain, suffering. And you need to feel that. And yet with it feel the freedom and the joy and the gratefulness to God for the great miracles that we are seeing. Can you have both experiences together? Yes. That is what's called upon us tonight. I wish you a happy kosher Passover. May we come to the time when we have full freedom. The hostages back home, so with maror and bitterness will be just a memory of the past. And that will be very soon with a full victory of the IDF and the coming of Mashiach. Our righteous Messiah would take us out of exile. There'll be no more suffering, not just for us. There'll be no more suffering for anyone. We feel the pain of all innocent men, women, and children who are dying. There'll be no more suffering, no more pain. May it be speedily in our days. When you open up the door for Elijah tonight, listen to him say, Mashiach is coming. Amen.